fellow who my mother told me was my brother. And the first time I said, Brother John, he said, no, call me John. And since I was a kid, I never said Mr. or brother as you do. I always said John. And John became an elder for me. When he left to study in the United States, I had just started attending primary schools in Bununu. So if you people hear me talk mainly, you know where I got it from. From Bununu, I went with my mother back to Rotifunk, and I was always excited when a letter came from the United States. I would run to the post office, collect the letter, and take it to my mother, and I would sit and hear her read this letter to me from my brother who was in that faraway land in the United States. And once in a while, my mother would convince me to write to my brother. And I would anxiously wait for a reply. And every time I received the letter, I would run and take it to my mother, and she would read it back to me. Then I had to move to Freetown to attend the government model school, and I was staying with my senior brother, Obai Karefa-Smart. And I was with him when he married Josephine Kobe Wright, and they had Peter and Teddy and Charles. But when I started secondary school at the Prince of Wales School, my brother came home. And from then on, he took me under his arm. And I can remember, and I still remember, the very proud moments we spent together. And but for him and his dear wife, I would not be standing here before you today. Because I became seriously ill just after I finished the Prince of Wales School. And he took me to Nigeria, where I became the guinea pig for one of the first treatments they had for pulmonary tuberculosis. I stand here before you almost 80 years old, but for the caring love my brother and his wife gave me. I can pay no greater tribute but to say that he and his family nurtured me through my lifetime. I have a very good friend of mine who always reminds me when we're talking about Freetown and what we know and what we don't know. He says, what you said she was. As anything you brother don't carry go. That is true. And I'm very thankful for what she offered me. And I know that he lived his life as best as he could. And we stand and sit here tonight as a very proud Karefa-Smart family. Thank you.
Honorable members of Parliament, the Sierra Leone government, honorable members of the diplomatic mission to Sierra Leone, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Reverend Dr. Mrs. Lena Joyce Karefa-Smart, wife of our honored elder statesman, Rosalie Mayanilis, Suzanne, Timothy, Anna, Lena, Gabriela, Christina, brother Nam, last of the Karefa-Smart siblings, nephews, nieces, extended family members, from near and far. We are here to celebrate the life and richness of a worthy son, an elder statesman of this great country, God's country, Sierra Leone. It was the Honorable Reverend Dr. John Albert Musselman Karefa-Smart's privilege, our first Minister of External Affairs, to hand over letters of credence on behalf of the Sierra Leone's attaining independent status on April 27, 1961. We became the 100th member nation of the UN, and today, the President, His Excellency Dr. Ernest Bai Koroma, with the full support of the Cabinet, parliamentarians, organizations for Sierra Leone at 50, they are putting their energies, competencies, dedication, planning skills, indeed their best foot forward to do the Sierra Leone at 50 Jubilee, an event that will stand out in the history of Sierra Leone. Tomorrow, Friday, September 17, is the third anniversary of His Excellency the President's elevation as head of this country. And then, after the state funeral for the celebration of the life of the Reverend Dr. John A.M. Karefa-Smart, I met Uncle John, as we Christian family called him, since 1951. Beloved brother of my good friend, Maud May Smart. It was on the train to Bo that this meeting took place, along with the late Frank Anthony. I was entertained to lunch on the dining coach. What a good time we had, until I alighted at Mano on my way to visit my brother at Jala. We always reminisce about that first meeting years after we became in-laws. Both men had a good sense of humor, and they were full of high expectations of what their training and experiences in the Western world would mean for our own country. Little did I realize that in the space of 2 years, John would be best man at Willie and Alice's wedding at York Village, where my father was a Methodist superintendent. He truly loved us, making the entire occasion so special, so that the missionaries who were in attendance, the bridesmaids, godparents, indeed, only John did it for us. He stood tall in his friendship with us and support over the years. Someone has said, and I quote, "All that we send into the lives of others comes back to our own." What a truism. John and Rena met few months afterwards at a youth conference in Oslo. There he made the right moves, said the right words, which touched the young delegates, Miss Rena Joyce Weller's heart. A preacher's kid like himself, and presto, within 6 months, they were married. The Albert Academy young men in those days were movers and shakers. I don't know about now. And these three young men now, John and Frank and Willie Fitzjohn, and their wives, surely made a difference. Uncle John God has allowed you to enjoy 95 years. 62 of them with Auntie Rena, not 62 months. And you were a role model to your kids, a mentor to all who came your pathway, and your grandkids and family members. They cared for you just like you cared for them. Health problems, as a good doctor should be, you gave them all the best. And as a preacher, teacher, professor, politician, and statesman, you did your best. You were guided by the principle, to whom much is given, much is to be required. You surely made a difference, Uncle John. As a Sierra Leonean delegate in matters ecumenical, educational, and international, you helped put your country on the map, interacting with participants at conferences you attended to better the lot of the human condition. I am proud of your achievement, my brother, because you demonstrated that hard work is the secret of success in life. You enjoyed your closely knit family that gave you great support over the years, and your life was an open book. Few people are able to demonstrate the courage with which you stood for what you believed in. Now it is time to say goodbye, Uncle John. Your mantle has fallen on Uncle Frank. May God strengthen him to love, serve, follow in the Master's footsteps, as you tried to do in 95 years. Rest in peace, my brother, with those who have gone before, to receive God's welcome, good and faithful servant. Enter now into the joy of your Lord. Amen and amen. Amen.
Ministers, temporal and spiritual, family, relatives, friends and admirers, mourners all of our deceased patriarch, the Honorable Dr. John Karefa-Smart. After the mellifluous eloquence of our dear Nancy Alice's son, there's always something scintillating still to be discovered and certainly to be pronounced. I therefore accept the challenge given after that. It is a self-evident truth that as we begin to live, we begin to die. And it is equally true that as we begin to die, we begin to live. It is that life, that living, which we are here to commemorate and